What's up, guys? So, in case you missed it, they have released the patch notes for the upcoming Dragon Ball FighterZ patch. So, I thought it would be fun to kind of run through and talk about what's in here and sort of discuss how big of an impact this is going to have on the game. So, to start things off, there's kind of two big surprises for me in this patch. One is that it's only 2 days away. The 9th of May is when we're going to receive this update, so I'm really excited that it's coming that soon. The second surprise is that this is a pretty light balance update. There is not much there in terms of nerfing or buffing characters. Most of the changes are very minor, and largely it seems like this patch is just to fix a lot of bugs. There's a lot of visual bugs that they're fixing and stuff like that. So if you're expecting like a big shakeup to the tier list, you might be a little bit disappointed, but overall I'm happy that they're kind of taking their time and not doing any like knee-jerk crazy changes yet. So, to start things off, there are two new features that we're getting in the game. One is called FighterZ Cup, which is a monthly competition where players can fight and collect points for their respective Z Union. So they don't explain if this is like an online bracket. That's what I would prefer if it's like an online tournament. I think that would be really fun. Or it could potentially just be like a thing where you just play matches normally, and then by playing the matches you're getting points for your Z Union, and then at the end of a certain period of time whoever's Z Union has the most points, they win, or something like that. So either way, it sounds kind of cool. Next up is Party Battle, co-op fights where 3 players can join forces to defeat fearsome bosses. So this sounds really cool. It's very similar to something they have in Injustice 2, where there's kind of like raid bosses that you can team up with your friends to fight. So that should be really fun as well. I'm looking forward to these new modes, giving those a shot. A couple changes to existing modes. So replay channel, we are losing all the old recorded data from the replay channel, which is unfortunate, but I imagine like for technical reasons they have to do stuff like that since the replays aren't going to match sort of the balance changes that are coming. And also combo challenge, they're fixing a minor bug. I've never encountered this bug, but it's apparently a thing, so they're fixing that too. Also, training mode has a whole lot of bugs that they're fixing. I'm not going to run through them all. Personally, I've never really noticed any of these, but I'm glad that these are getting fixed just to improve the quality of life of training mode. And then finally, story mode, one minor fix to defense up skills. Again, never noticed this, but whatever. A lot of bug fixes are so minor that you wouldn't have even known that they were there until the fix is in. So, with that out of the way, let's get into the character changes. So, I've divided these guys kind of up into groups. First of all, we're going to talk about the group of characters that are completely unchanged. They're literally not mentioned in the patch. So, we got Bardock, Goku Blue, and Majin Buu. These guys are not getting touched. So, literally nothing changing about them. Next up, we've got the extremely minor fixes or stuff that you would never notice. So most of these are like visual bug fixes or like super minor fixes to like damage scaling or stuff like that. So Super Saiyan Goku, not much happening there, just a slight visual change. Tien, again, just a visual change. Yamcha, a visual change. Ginyu, one visual change plus some change to his jumping heavy. Never noticed that issue before. Hit, a visual change. Android 21, a couple bug fixes. Nothing much happening there. Teen Gohan, a handful of bug changes. Nothing too noticeable there either. Trunks, just one bug change for him. And then Goku Black, just a weird change where apparently he used to be able to hit a knocked out opponent. Never seen that as well, but whatever, that's getting fixed too. Next up, we have the characters that are just getting straight up buffed. So some of these are pretty good. I think some of these characters will be pretty improved by this. So first of all, we have Vegeta Blue. He's got a lot of changes here. Most of these are like not noticeable at all. I think probably the biggest one is adjusted the scaling on a scale of 1 to 10. I'll give you a 3 in case you don't know that is his quarter circle back attack. So that it's now easier to grab the opponent and follow up with Z assists. So it sounds like kind of a buff to his combo potential. So that's pretty good. And also fixed an issue where his invincibility is disabled at the wrong time when executing final flash attacks. So it sounds like it's going to be harder to hit him out of that super, so I think that that's great too. Just some quality of life changes. I don't think this is going to skyrocket him up the tier list, but it's nice to have anyway if you play this character. Next up we have Beerus. Again, all pretty minor bug fixes. They are getting rid of an infinite that he had where he could just shoot ki blasts forever, so that's pretty funny, and I'm kind of glad that they're removing that infinite. And then the one big buff here is they're reducing the recovery of his down medium attack, so I think that'll be nice. It should improve his footsies a little bit. One of my wish list items was that Beerus and Piccolo, their fireballs could stop super dashes. We are not getting that change, which I guess that's fine. It definitely seems like that would be like a big shake up, kind of completely change the tier list change, and there isn't anything like that in this patch, so they're taking it slow. But that one change that I asked for is not going to be in. Next up we have Krillin. Very, very excited about this. So his assist, now you can actually choose whether you want to throw a rock or a Senzu Bean. So if you hold left when he appears, it'll throw the Senzu Bean. If you don't, then it'll throw a rock. So this is nice. It's really good because a lot of times when he's the assist, you like really need the rock assist, like if you knock the opponent down and you want to lock them down or something like that, but you just can't call it because your character is missing a little bit of life, so you're going to get the Senzu Bean. So this should let you like really strategize more. If you actually want the Senzu Bean, you can get the bean. If you don't want it, you can get the rock. So I think that's great. Plus, they're even buffing the rock throw. They're increasing the hit stun duration and the amount of time an opponent isn't able to recover. So basically that means like if you hit them in the air, they're going to be getting hit by it longer before they can kind of air tech out. So that's nice. Pretty good buff to his assist. I don't know if this will be enough to make him more of an assist-focused character, because right now I feel like he's definitely more of a point character. But either way, I'm really happy. Being a Krillin main, I'm definitely happy that his assist is getting some nice buffs. Next up, we also have Nappa. So the really only noticeable one here, I think, is going to be this first one. Adjusted the knockback distance of an opponent so that Nappa's jumping down heavy is more likely to hit twice. So his jumping down heavy, where he kind of rides you to the ground, this is a big enabler for a lot of the damage in his combos. So I think making that easier to combo into is going to be a really nice buff to his B&Bs. Right now he kind of struggles with mid-screen bread and butter combos, so I think this is a great change. These other adjustments, I don't know how noticeable this is going to be, just minor changes to damage scaling, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Finally, the last buffed character here, we have Frieza. There's a lot of kind of minor stuff, but one nice thing is extended the inner part of the hitbox for Frieza's crouching heavy, so it sounds like that is going to make crouching heavy a better anti-air. It's going to be kind of harder for his crouching heavy to lose to something like a super dash, so I think that's really good. Other than that, this is mostly like minor damage scaling changes, so probably nothing else too notable with the rest of these changes. Finally, we have the characters that were nerfed. So there's a lot of these, but most of them are really minor. So like Android 18, now off of her command throw, it's going to correctly increment the combo counter. It didn't work before, which also means there's going to be increased damage scaling off of her command throw. So I don't think this is too terrible of a nerf. Obviously, it's not great. Combos off of her command throw are going to do less damage now, but it's not the end of the world, and her command throw is already like really hard to land. So even though this is a minor buff, I don't think it's going to like destroy the character or anything like that. Similarly, Kid Buu, they are fixing damage scaling on his air super. I think that this again is not a huge deal, but again just slightly less damage on some of his combos, and also fixing an issue where his candy bean sometimes hits an opponent for several times. Personally never noticed this, but you know, whatever, you gotta fix these bugs. Brawly has a really long list of changes, but most of these I don't think really matter too much. They're mostly like visual bug fixes. One that I do think is important is fixed an issue where an opponent wall bounces when the player hits the opponent with Brawly's gigantic strike with corner on the back. So this is kind of a long-winded way of putting it, but basically my understanding is his air command throw, if he does it while the corner is behind Brawly, you could cause a wall bounce off this, which is unintended. They only want you to do the wall bounce into the corner, I believe. So it's going to kind of reduce his combo potential, especially off of snapbacks in the corner. Again, if I'm interpreting this correctly. So minor nerf, but not a huge deal. None of these things really hurt Brawly that much. I still think he'll be fine. We're getting a nerf to Piccolo Assist. There used to be kind of an exploit where if you call Piccolo Assist and then Piccolo jumps off screen, right, because he's done doing the assist, the opponent then has to guess, left or right, which side the ball is going to hit on based on where the point character is. So you can no longer do cross-ups with Piccolo assist. That's getting completely removed, so that's fair. There is a minor buff to the assist as well, fixing an issue where the assist doesn't fire the energy blast when used right after a super attack. Again, I've never encountered this bug personally, but it sounds like, you know, a little quality of life improvement will come from that. Android 16 is by far the most nerfed character in this patch. So now players will be able to recover from the ground when hit by Android 16's dynamite driver. So that's his command throw. So basically the sort of freight train thing that he could do where he knocks you down with the command throw. He does a crazy mix-up because you can't recover off the ground. You're stuck just waking up into the mix-up. And then if he gets a hit, he goes into another command throw. That's going to be completely gone now with the exception of his level 3. That's the only way to set up those hard knockdowns. So this is a really, really big nerf to the character. And also they removed the invincibility to ranged attacks from his standing heavy, jumping heavy, and crouching heavy. So previously you could kind of blow through beams and stuff like that with his heavy attacks, the armored attacks, but that's no longer going to work. So really big buffs to this character. I think this is actually really going to hurt him, take him down on the tier list. Currently I think he's like in the top 5, but I think he'll probably be lucky to be in the top 10 after this. But I could be wrong. He does have a lot of good tools with his armor moves, his long-range normals, his damaging combos. So it's not the end of the world, but yeah, this is really going to hurt Android 16 players and cause people who hate that character to really rejoice. Next up, as I predicted, Vegeta Assist is getting a nerf. It's pretty ambiguous as to what's actually happening, reducing the duration of block stun for Vegeta's assists. So that doesn't necessarily clarify if they're reducing the number of hits, which was kind of my prediction, or if each hit is going to do less block stun. I have no idea, but they are nerfing probably the most used assist in the game. The other character that I think everyone expected a big nerf for, Adult Gohan. So no longer will his heavy version of Machine Gun Kick do ridiculous frame advantage on block. That is getting nerfed. Also, his heavy version of Midair Ultimate Back Attack, that's this sort of teleport cross-up attack. Opponents will now be able to ground recover and hit, so you won't be able to combo off that. I believe modifying the properties of his down light attack to match with other light attacks, I believe that's actually a buff, because right now his down light attack is slower than all other light attacks. So that attack's frame data may be getting buffed. But otherwise, these will be some pretty big nerfs to Adult Gohan because his air machine gun kick was kind of one of his most abusable moves, and the frame advantage on that is getting nerfed. Another assist that's getting nerfed is Gotank's assist. He can no longer re-stand the opponent using his assist. That was a pretty abusable mechanic that allowed for some really, really crazy combos. So that's going away, unfortunately for Gotank's players. Otherwise, these changes are extremely minor. I don't think you're going to notice any of these other ones, but yeah, the lack of restand is probably going to hurt the character. And then finally, Cell. I think people expected some big nerfs for Cell. That did not happen. All we get is one extremely minor nerf where his sort of telekinetic command throw thing can no longer hit the opponent if they're behind him. So that's just a minor nerf. This rarely comes up. A lot of people are expecting this character to eat big nerfs like Android 16 did, but that's not happening. So that's pretty much the end of the list here. There's a bunch of other minor sort of system changes, but nothing here is too huge except for fixing an issue where scaling that should have been applied to non-recovery frame to prevent a combo loop isn't applied when starting a combo with certain moves. So again, that's so hard to read, but basically what they're saying is currently there are infinites that are possible if you start a combo with extremely specific moves. That's getting fixed. There's not going to be any more infinites. Stuff like Captain Ginyu with the Ginyu Force attacks, some of those could set up infinites, but that's not going to work anymore. Otherwise, these changes are all pretty minor. The full list, if you want to peruse through it, is going to be linked in the description. But yeah, that's about it. So guys, let me know. What do you think? Do you think this patch is too minor? Were you hoping for some bigger changes, a bigger shakeup to the tier list? Are there any changes in here that you think are just crazy and shouldn't have happened? Please let me know. If you want to see more videos from me, you can check out my patch wishlist video where I predicted what would happen in this patch. Compare it to this one, see what I got right and what I got wrong. That's about it, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.